Microscopic anatomy of skeletal muscle fibers is the topic of this screencast. This topic may be found in Chapter 6 of your textbook. The screencast was designed to help you achieve the following objectives: describe the microscopic anatomy of a skeletal muscle fiber, describe the microscopic anatomy of a sarcomere, describe how thick and thin filaments of a sarcomere interact to cause the contraction of a skeletal muscle fiber. In order to understand how a skeletal muscle fiber contracts, you have to have a basic understanding of the microscopic anatomy of a skeletal muscle fiber. So let's talk about that now. This figure is from your book. The picture at the bottom is that of a skeletal muscle, the organ. And we're going to isolate an individual skeletal muscle fiber from that skeletal muscle, and we're going to magnify it. And that's what we're looking at here. So this is a dissection of an individual skeletal muscle fiber. We're going to further magnify that image so that we can really look at the microscopic anatomy of a skeletal muscle fiber. So here is a nice picture of a skeletal muscle fiber. The first organelles I'd like to talk about are the myofibrils. These organelles are illustrated here as round red structures. Notice that myofibrils take up almost all of the sarcoplasm. Sarcoplasm is the cytoplasm of a skeletal muscle fiber. These organelles are responsible for the contraction of a skeletal muscle fiber. They are contractile organelles. Notice the nuclei. Skeletal muscle fibers have various nuclei. Notice that they are just underneath the sarcolemma. 1, 2, 3 of them shown here. They're just under the sarcolemma. The sarcolemma is the plasma membrane of the skeletal muscle fiber. The reason why the nuclei are just underneath the sarcolemma is so that they don't interfere with the contractions of the myofibrils. The sarcolemma again is the plasma membrane of the skeletal muscle fiber. Shown here in yellow are what are called T-tubules. T-tubules are extensions of the sarcolemma that run deep into the skeletal muscle fiber. And what these T-tubules allow is for action potentials to move deep into the skeletal muscle fibers. And those action potentials play very important roles in allowing skeletal muscle fibers to contract, as you will see later. I also want to point out the numerous mitochondria that you find in the skeletal muscle fibers. Mitochondria, as you know, are responsible for the production of ATP, and the contraction of a skeletal muscle fiber requires a lot of ATP, so typically you find lots of mitochondria in a skeletal muscle fiber. Lastly, I want to point out this blue colored organelle, or at least it's illustrated as blue in this image. This is the sarcoplasmic reticulum. The sarcoplasmic reticulum is a modified smooth endoplasmic reticulum. In skeletal muscle fibers, it has a very important role in storing calcium. Let's look a little more closely at the sarcoplasmic reticulum. This slide shows a dissection of a skeletal muscle fiber. You can see the sarcoplasmic reticulum, shown in blue, surrounds each myofibril. Again, it's a specialized smooth endoplasmic reticulum. It stores calcium, and you'll see later the role that calcium plays in facilitating the contraction of a skeletal muscle fiber. Now that we've discussed the microscopic anatomy of a skeletal muscle fiber as a whole, I want to focus on the organelle that's responsible for the contraction of the skeletal muscle, which is the myofibril. Again, notice in this cross section of a skeletal muscle fiber that myofibrils literally fill the sarcoplasm. To understand how myofibrils contract and allow for the entire skeletal muscle fiber to contract, let's now look specifically at the anatomy of an individual myofibril. You are looking at a segment of a myofibril. Notice that the myofibril is composed of bundles of myofilaments. These are thin, long structures composed of protein. And those myofilaments align themselves in such a way that it gives distinct bands. It is the alignment of these myofilaments that are responsible for the striations that you see in skeletal muscle tissue as well as cardiac muscle tissue. And so these myofilaments arrange themselves such that there are dark bands or A bands and light bands or I bands. And an easy way to remember that I bands are light bands and dark bands are A bands is to note that I is the second letter in light and A is the second letter in dark. If you look more closely at a myofibril, what you'll notice is that it consists of repeating units, and these repeating units are called sarcomeres. To use an analogy, if you think of a myofibril as a train, the sarcomeres would be the individual boxcars. We are again looking at a segment of a myofibril. The sarcomere is the basic contractile unit of a myofibril, and it extends from the center of one I band to the center of the adjacent I band. Contraction occurs at the level of the sarcomere, and it results from the movement and interactions of those myofilaments found in the sarcomere. So you need to understand the anatomy of the sarcomere to understand how it contracts. So we'll now examine the anatomy of a sarcomere. I have found that the best way to learn the anatomy of a sarcomere is to sit down with pencil and paper and to draw it from scratch. I'm going to do that now, and I am going to suggest to you that you do that a few times on your own. You'll be amazed at how quickly you learn the anatomy of the sarcomere if you sit down and construct the sarcomere from scratch. So I'm going to start with the myosin or thick filaments. The thick filaments are shown in red in your textbook, and I will show them in this screencast as well as all subsequent screencasts in red. They're sometimes referred to as myosin filaments because they are composed of the protein myosin. Now I have added the thin filaments in blue, and again this color scheme is found in your book, and I will use this color scheme throughout this screencast and all subsequent screencasts. The blue colored filaments are referred to as thin filaments. Sometimes they're referred to as actin filaments because they are composed of repeating units of the protein actin. What we refer to as the A band or dark band is where we have the myosin filaments. Notice that the myosin or thick filaments do overlap with the thin or actin filaments. The I band or light bands exist where we have only the thin or actin filaments. The Z discs are where we have the thin filaments attaching to one another or anchoring to one another. Notice that the Z disc is found pretty much in the center of the thin or I bands. Notice that on the A or dark band, we do have this area where the thin and thick filaments do not overlap, at least in a resting muscle this is the case. In this zone where the two bands do not overlap is referred to as the H zone. And now we can identify the sarcomere. Again, the sarcomere runs from the center of one I band to the center of the next I band. So the sarcomere includes the myosin or thick filaments, the light or actin filaments, as well as the areas where the two overlap. I would now like to use this slide to start our discussion on how contraction occurs at a sarcomere. So we're looking at a sarcomere. The thick filaments are represented by red, the thin filaments represented by blue. Notice that where we have overlap between the thick and thin filaments, we have these protrusions or extensions of the thick filament. Here is yet another image that illustrates the components of a sarcomere. Notice again where you have overlap between the thick filament and the thin filament, you have these extensions. These extensions are sometimes referred to as myosin heads. Now let's look at an even larger picture of this image here at the bottom in the next slide. Now let me explain what happens when a sarcomere contracts. The myosin head attaches to the actin filament, pivots and pulls inward, and then detaches. Other myosin heads attach to the to the thin filaments, pull inward and detach. These myosin heads do this over and over again wherever we have overlap between the actin and myosin filaments, and this causes the sliding of the thin filaments inward toward the center of the sarcomere. The sliding of the thin filaments toward the middle of the sarcomere pulls the Z lines with it, and it causes contraction of all the sarcomeres of all the myofibrils in a skeletal muscle cell. As that occurs, it causes the skeletal muscle fiber as a whole to contract or shorten. So let's summarize the contraction of a sarcomere. So here we have at the top of the screen a sarcomere that is at rest, that is, it's not contracting. And we know that it's not contracting because the H zone or bare zone is visible. This is the area of the dark band where we don't have overlap between the thick filament and the thin filament. When contraction of a sarcomere occurs and the myosin heads attach to the thin filaments and pull them inward, there is complete overlap between the thick and thin filaments. There is no H zone visible. The thin filaments have been pulled inward, and so the sarcomere has contracted or shortened. As the sarcomeres all contract or shorten, on all of the myofibrils, which completely fill the sarcoplasm of the skeletal muscle fiber, this causes the skeletal muscle fiber as a whole to contract. This contraction, as a result of the sliding of the thin filaments inward toward the center of the sarcomere, is called the sliding filament theory of muscle contraction. This image from your book represents the contraction of a sarcomere and how it causes the contraction of a myofibril. At the top here, we have a sarcomere that is relaxed. That is, it is not contracting. The thick filament is represented by the thick purple pencil that's sharpened at both ends, and the thin filaments are represented by the blue pencils sharpened only at the end that faces toward the center of the sarcomere. During contraction of the sarcomere, as the myosin heads attach and pull inward on the thin filaments, the thin filaments move inward, increasing the overlap between the thin filaments and the thick filaments, causing contraction or shortening of the sarcomere. As all of the sarcomeres contract, there is contraction of the myofibril as a whole. So the myofibril shortens from this length to that length. And as all of the myofibrils that completely fill the cytoplasm of a skeletal muscle cell contracts, it causes contraction of the entire skeletal muscle cell. Before you take the self-tests at the end of this screencast, watch the video mustgrow.mov. It's a short animation reviewing the anatomy of the muscle, the microscopic anatomy of the sarcomere, and demonstrating the sliding filament theory of contraction. Now let's review the objectives of the screencast. Describe the microscopic anatomy of a skeletal muscle fiber. Describe the microscopic anatomy of a sarcomere. Describe how thick and thin filaments of a sarcomere interact to cause the contraction of a skeletal muscle fiber. Motor units is the topic of the next screencast. However, don't forget to watch the short animation mustgrow.mov before watching the next screencast.